All right, all right. Hey, how's it going? Well, today's the day that I do something that I've been thinking about for a long time, and I hope I can provide some value. I hope you guys definitely find value in what I'm going to be doing here. I'm actually kicking off our podcast. So Heather and I went back and forth. We talked about it. I was like, should it be the Larry Holsey podcast? Because I just want to keep it simple. I don't really want to pigeonhole myself on any one specific topic. Whether it's, being healthy, lots of things I'm not passionate about. I'm passionate about being healthy, passionate about business, success, being a great dad, being a great husband, being successful in our main primary business, our health and nutrition business, as well as our real estate business. Really excited about all the value that we can provide in lots of different areas. I'm really just excited about winning. I'm excited about seeing people grow, and I just want to provide value in whatever way that I can. So anyway, so if I haven't met you yet, I'm Larry Holsey. I'm married to a beautiful woman named Heather, and had gone back and forth just talking about, would it be good to do just the Larry Holsey podcast, or should we do like the Larry and Heather Holsey podcast? So I'll let you guys comment. You can let us know what you want. She certainly has a tremendous amount of value to provide, but she may not want to do her own podcast. So we could just team up and we could do it together. So that's what we're thinking about. Anyway, so this is my first run. This is going live on YouTube. It's going live on Facebook, going live on LinkedIn, and then we will have it uploaded on like Apple Podcasts. And then I'm not sure how you do Spotify and other podcast, formats. But anyway, I'm just taking imperfect action. Okay. So one of my mentors, Jim Rohn, what a man. He told me and told everybody that he talked to, that it's better to put an imperfect plan into action today than a perfect plan tomorrow. Okay. So that's what we're doing. We're just putting this imperfect plan into action. I don't have my microphone. I don't have my special camera. I don't have my special lighting. I'm just going. Okay. So here we go. So let's do this. So my wife Heather and I, we have 4 kids. We've got a 19-year-old all the way down to a 10-year-old. We love spending time with our family. We love traveling. We love going around the country. We love going around the world, and we love we just love everything that we're doing. So anyway, so I want to talk to you guys about a couple of things, what we're going to be doing on this podcast here, and then I'm going to share a little bit of teaching, a little bit of philosophy with you about what it takes to win. Okay, so at the end here, I'll be sharing 5 points on like 5 keys to winning. Okay, to winning in life. And so we'll get to those. So as we go through the time on this podcast, what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be talking about health and nutrition. I'm going to be talking about business success. I'm going to be talking about personal growth, about family, about real estate, about physical health, how to stay in good physical health. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. I'll be doing some not book reviews, but like book breakdowns. Okay. So one of the things that I'd like to start with is, the book Think and Grow Rich is such a powerful, powerful book. And there's 17 principles in that book for winning, okay, for success. And if you don't know the story, Napoleon Hill actually interviewed 500 of the world's most successful men. They were actually all men at that time. So the world has changed, right? But back at that time, I don't know, it was maybe in the, when was that? Like maybe in the 20s. So like 100 years ago. It was all the 500 most successful men in the world that he interviewed. And he spent like 20 years of his life on this project. And he condensed everything that he learned from these men over this 20-year time of interviewing them and learning about them and getting to know them and finding out what made them successful. He condensed that into this book called Think and Grow Rich. So I'd love to take there's 17 principles. Maybe it'll be 17 shows that we'll take and we'll break down those 17 principles one by one. Maybe we'll do, 3 or 4 at a time. I don't know how it's going to go. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. Okay. So maybe you want to write this down as your first note. Ready, fire, aim. Okay. And that's a good success principle that's worked for me. Is ready, fire, aim. It's just start taking action. And when you start shooting or you start taking action, you kind of figure out what's on track and what's off track, and then you can make adjustments as you go. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. All right, so man, let's jump into the meat of this thing. All right. So let's talk about the 5 keys that I wrote down here. And I just wrote these down off the top of my head. 5 things that I think are really important for you to be a winner. All right. And everybody wants to be a winner. All right. Nobody wants to be a loser. Everybody wants to win in life. Some of us are winning greatly in one area and maybe struggling in another, and that's okay. Okay. It's just we're all on a journey, we're all in a process, and we're all, hopefully attempting to get a little bit better every day. And hopefully today, your goal is to get at least 1% better than you were yesterday. Okay. And then the same thing tomorrow. And if you'll just do that, continually focus on getting a little bit better, man, you won't even recognize yourself a year from now. Okay. All right. Hold on. Time for some tea. All right. I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know if you can tell, but, I feel like I'm really putting myself out here, and here we go. Okay. We're going to do it anyway, though. All right. So here we go. So the first key to success to winning in life, and these are not the only 5 keys, but these are just 5 that I came up with. Number 1 is to be a big thinker. Okay. It takes just as much energy to think big as it does to think small. Okay. It takes, in fact, more energy to just try and survive than it does to just go big in life. Okay. So what I would recommend to you guys, in fact, when I was a kid, my dad made me read some books. I guess he didn't make me, he just offered for me to read them. And I wanted to read them. I really like to read. Okay. But one of those books was a book called The Magic of Thinking Big. And it's a guy by the name of David Schwartz. Okay. I got it on my bookshelf right over here. And I've read it multiple times in my life. I think I was probably, 11 or 12 the first time I read it. And it just talks about how it takes just as much energy to go big and to think big as it does to think small. And there's no cost to thinking big. So if you're going to think about doing something in life, why not think big? Okay, think big. Think of the best. Think of the greatest thing that you could make happen. Because when you think big, you're more likely to make big things happen. Okay, and if you think way up here, even if you fall short, okay, you're still going to be better off than if you had thought small and fallen short, and then you're like way down here. Okay, so first thing would be just to think big. Like whatever you're thinking now, let's just talk about your income. Let's say you're thinking about, man, I'd like to make X number of dollars per year. Okay, and man, if I just just think about it right now. Think about in your mind, if you could make your dream income, what would that income be? Okay, like what would give you the opportunity to travel the way you want, to take care of your family the way you want, to buy your wife the car that you want her to drive, the car that's got, that's going to be safe and reliable and have her feel good about driving. For your kids, what kind of life do you want to provide for your kids? Do you want to do travel sports? Do you want to do what do you want to do? Where do you want to take them? What do you want to do with your life? Okay. And what kind of income do you need to make that happen? Okay. And whatever that number is, hey, just think about it and get that image in your mind, get that number in your mind. In fact, I would recommend that you write it down. Okay. Write down that number right now. If you're on your phone, put it in your notes on your phone, and let's start there. Okay. So whatever that number is, we're talking about thinking big, right? So I want this to be a big number. Okay. So what I want you to do is take that number, and now I want you to add a 0 to it. Okay. Add a 0 on the end. And now we're talking, now we're thinking big. Okay. And does that give you like a butterflies in your stomach when you think about that number? Like, holy moly. Yeah, I think so. So when you get those butterflies, man, that's like excitement building up in you. Okay. It's like excitement, like starting to bubble up. And that's something that can motivate you and that can really get you excited to make that happen. Okay. And if you just set goals to just get by and just pay these lousy bills, then you're not going to be inspired to go for them. Okay. So, all right. So that'd be the first one. Number 1, be a big thinker. All right. Number 2, let's go to number 2 here. And number 2 is going to be goal oriented. Okay. Goal oriented. All right. So when we talk about being goal oriented, you want to make sure that when you're thinking big, now we want to set specific goals. Okay. And goals that you can, goals that can motivate you, that can give you, benchmarks to go for. Okay. You want to have short-term goals. You want to have long-term goals. Okay. You want to have all kinds of goals for everything that you do. And those goals will keep you on track towards a, sorry guys, I'm just actually opening up something on my computer here, and it's, hopefully it's not bogging down the broadcast here. But anyway, all right. So let's see here. Okay, all right, everybody, thanks everybody for hanging with me here. Okay, so whenever you have those goals, there's a couple of things you want to have in your goal plan. Okay, so you want to have your goals, something called SMART goals. Okay, so if you've ever heard about SMART goals, I don't know if you've ever heard that term, but it's an acronym for a way to set your goals. Okay, and here's what that means. Okay, so number one, you want them to be specific. Okay, so you want a specific goal. So if you want to make, $10,000 a month, then you want to set it exactly at $10,000 a month. You want to make $8,722 a month. Do you want to make $500 extra dollars a month? What do you want to make? Okay. What kind of house do you want to live in? How many bedrooms does it have? How many bathrooms does it have? What does it look like? What does it smell like? What do you feel like when you're living there? The more specific you can be with your goals, the more real it becomes to your subconscious mind, and the more likely you're going to attract that in your life. Okay. All right. So specific would be the first part of the SMART goals. Okay. Number two would be measurable. Okay. Something that you can measure. So it needs to be something you can count or that you can quantify. Okay. So you don't want to set a goal that, hey, I want to live in a big house. Okay. That's not a very measurable goal, because a big house could be different between 10 different people, and a big house means 10 different things to them. Okay. So you want it to be measurable and you want it to be specific. Okay. Number three is you want it to be achievable. So with your goals, so you absolutely want to think big, but when we're adding that, when we thought about your dream income and we're adding a 0 to the end of that, you're not going to immediately set the goal to make that happen in the short term. Okay. We got to have those stepping stones to get to that goal. And it's got to be something that's achievable, something that you can believe you can get. So you can dream up here, you can stretch your brain up here in this unbelievable future that you want for you and your family. But then you have, you can also have these stepping stone goals that are the ones that are achievable and believable. Okay, I know I can do this, or I feel like I know I can get this. And then you get there, and say you get your income up to a certain point, then maybe you could see double that. And then once you get to there, then maybe you can see double that. And you just keep raising the bar and raising the goals. Okay. All right. So that would be the third point. First one is specific. Second one's measurable. Third one is achievable. Okay. Next is something that's relevant. So relevant to your overall future that you want for yourself. Okay. And then the last thing is time bound. Okay. Time bound. So that means it's got a specific time on it to where you have urgency. And another thing Jim Rohn taught me is that without a sense of urgency, desire loses its value. Okay, so if you don't have a sense of urgency and working towards your goals, okay, if it's just like, yeah, I want to get that just whenever, okay, then that sense of desire, it just loses its punch. Okay, and then something else kicks in, which, the law of diminishing intent, where you really intend to do something. You're like, man, I'm going to go for this thing now. And then you just lose, you don't take immediate action on it. So then you kind of lose the fire to do it. Okay. And that's actually what's happening today. So to tell you the truth on this podcast thing. So I've been thinking about this for a few years. Okay. And thought about it, and I'm like, man, I should do that. And I saw my buddy Brad Harris, he started a podcast and it's going great. My buddy Jack started a podcast, Jack Gibson started a great podcast. And I'm like, man, these guys, that's so awesome. And they're doing good. In fact, Brad was telling me, if you haven't followed Brad Harris's podcast, you really should follow him. But he has had over 100,000 downloads. Okay. So he's making a huge impact on a lot of people. And I wanted to, but I just didn't take action. Okay. And I'd think about it, and then I'd kind of get scared, I guess. I mean, like, oh man, I don't know what people are going to think. And I don't know do I have enough value to share? And, you just have all these things just talking in your ear. We all have those, right? And so what I did is I joined a mentorship. Okay. And in this mentorship, one of the things we are doing is talking about, developing your online presence. Okay. And so with a guy named Pace Morby. Okay. And Pace pushed us to say, okay, first week out of the gate, it was like, hey, you need to start a YouTube channel. Okay, I already had a YouTube channel, but it was just like, nothing really on there, except, well, there was like videos of my kids and stuff like that. So he's like, you need to start a YouTube channel. Here's some ways you can use it. The second week, he's like, you need to start a podcast. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. Pushing us out of the nest. Like, okay, so start a podcast. So I'm like, all right, well, I've got to start it now. So I'm really thankful. And that would bring me to really my third point in winning, okay, in being a winner and making things happen, winning in life, would be to ask yourself the question, who are you around? Okay, who am I around? And what are they, what have they got me reading? What have they got me thinking? What have they got me saying? And most importantly, who have they got me becoming? And when you think about those things, when you look at the people you spend the most time with, the people that you spend the most time with are going to really give you, have the most influence on you. Okay. So there's a saying that, if you take the 5 people you spend the most time with and you average their income, chances are you're going to be right there in a similar income to those people. Okay. And I believe that's true. So think about, who are you around? Are they pushing you to grow? Are they pushing you to get better? Are you getting better? Or are they people that are just, going to happy hour every day and just, getting loaded, and people that are just, watching Netflix all day, every day? I heard this stat the other day that like the typical person, the average person, I think it was 4.5 hours or 5.5 hours. What was it? I think it was 4.5 hours of streaming services every day. 4.5 hours. Maybe it was 5.5 hours. It was a lot. Okay. I'm like, holy crap. How are you going to get anything done if you're consuming that much streaming services? Anyway, so number 3 would be, who are you around? Okay. And just stick with me, guys. I'm going to take the next 5 minutes or so, and I'm going to wrap this up because I actually got another call that I got to be on. But number 4 is, are you being humble and are you being coachable? Okay. So are you willing to take coaching from people who are more successful than you? Okay. And are you humble? Do you know that you don't know it all? Okay. I'd say that's one of my things about me, is that when I started in my own business at age 18, I knew I didn't know how to win. I knew I didn't know how to be successful because I failed out of college. I was waiting tables. I was riding my bicycle to and from work, and I felt like a big loser with a capital L. So when I started my own business, I definitely attached to mentors, and I just was teachable and coachable and willing to follow the ways that they were showing me, to be teachable and coachable. And if they said something and I thought another thing, I just kind of would go with what they thought, because I'm like, man, they're way more successful than me. Okay. So when it comes to that, think about the advice you get from people around you. I wouldn't recommend you taking advice from anybody that you wouldn't trade places with. Okay. So if you have somebody in your life who's been, married and divorced 5 times, you may not want to take marriage advice from them. Okay. Unless you're putting them in the category of what not to do. Okay. If you're getting advice from somebody on how to be successful in business, then you might want to be following somebody who's been successful in business. Okay. Unless, again, if they've failed in, everybody fails at things, but if they've, not been successful, maybe you want to take, take the advice on the what not to do category. Okay. So just pay attention to who you're listening to. All right. So that'd be number 4, be humble, be coachable. All right. So number 5 is take action, be an action taker. All right. So if you are an action taker, that's going to be the biggest key to you succeeding in anything, whether that be marriage, kids, physical health, business, finances, whatever. You need to be an action taker. Okay. You can't sit back. Unfortunately, our school system has taught us to sit back passively and learn. Okay. And it's like we learn for 12 years, 13 years. If If you go to college, another 4 years. You go to like a master's program, another 2 years. So now you're what, 16, 18 years in school. You got your master's degree. You've been in school for 18 years. You're going to go get your PhD. What is it, 20 years you're in school? And you're sitting back learning. And our society is telling you to learn. And then once you're all learned up, take action. All right. Well, that doesn't really work in life, okay? Because you got to learn a little bit and take action. Learn a little bit, take action. Take action and learn from the action, because every time you take an action, there's going to be a response. Every time you do a cause, there's going to be an effect, and you can learn from the feedback that you're getting, okay? All right. So that would be number 5, to be an action taker. So let me just recap. Number 1 would be to be a big thinker. Number 2, be goal-oriented. Number 3, who are you around? Number 4, be humble and coachable. And number 5, be an action taker. Okay. All right. So listen, hey, thanks for being with me today. Man, I don't have any fancy music to do my intro, my outro. I don't have my logo. I don't have anything. I'm just taking action. I'm taking imperfect action. So we'll get fancier maybe with our podcast. And I think it's going to be, you guys tell me, do you want it to be the Larry and Heather Hulsey podcast, or do you want it to be just the Larry Hulsey podcast? I think I know what the answer is for even those of you guys that don't know her yet. All right. But anyway, listen, have a great day. It's going to be awesome. And I hope you guys just go out and apply some of these things, and we'll talk to y'all later.